why am I still bullish on Aerodrome despite, a lot of people like this saying, oh, it's not a good decentralized exchange, PancakeSwap is better, Uniswap is better. Even despite them having more fans, when it comes to Aerodrome's native token, seeing it go to the price of $25 during this bourne wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And let me explain why I think that even despite Aerodrome not being as massive as those, decentralized exchanges, at least when it comes to the hype and the attention, even still despite that, I think this is a no-brainer for me. And again, let me explain why. Now, here's the thing. The way I take a look at it is that I believe in the base network. But the thing is this, the base network does not have its own native token. So then when it comes to base, if I believe in it, if I think it hypothetically has a bright future, what is a way for me to kind of tap into that? Of course, there are three, well-known projects on the base network right now. First, of course, is Brett, which is a very popular meme coin. The second is Toshi. I'm very bullish on those two meme coins. But then some people out there, they may not want to just dive into meme coins, right? Some people out there, they want something with a bit more of a use case. And when it comes to that, I think the most viable option for me, at least as of right now on the base network, is going to be something like Aerodrome. And again, Aerodrome is a decentralized exchange on the base network. So again, that's a way for me to believe in that, because the way I view it is this. Historically speaking, when we take a look at something like Solana, when that really popped off, when that gained that mainstream hype, a lot of these projects on there went along with the ride, not just the meme coins. We take a look at even Jupiter, a very famous decentralized finance project. So when I take a look at something like that, I don't see why, if let's say there's a lot of hype and a lot of attention for the base network, and even in a much greater way, let's say when the boron is in fifth gear, I don't see why something like Aerodrome won't join that ride, at least in theory. Now, there's no guarantees here, but the way you take a look at it is that, again, if I believe in the base network, I can either sit there and not do anything or try to believe in projects that are on there if I do believe in base, right? Which I do. So, of course, this is going to be something that I believe in. Now, I think the base network, despite it being kind of relatively up and coming, it's already very massive, actually. And it has a good brand image, I would say, because, again, it's Coinbase's layer 2. So if Coinbase, kind of puts their name towards something, I'm going to believe in that. Some people like to say, oh, Coinbase is kind of like a watered down version of Binance. A little bit, maybe. I would arguably say it could be argued that way. But in my opinion, it doesn't really matter because Coinbase is still one of the biggest exchanges out there. So I think this is very impressive. And even beyond just like, the whole base network type of vibe, I do believe that Aerodrome is trying to achieve something very amazing because by nature, because it is, again, a decentralized exchange, it is focused on the decentralized finance market. And when we take a look at it, however, again, for short, that is the DeFi market, we take a look at how that market is predicted to be worth over $200 billion in size by 2030, according to Grandview Research. So when you think about that, it's very massive right there. And not to mention, it could hypothetically be something special. Now, people like to say that, people don't really care about this because they care about current adoption. Well, in my opinion, arguably not really, because the way I view it is this. People usually care about future anticipated adoption as opposed to like current adoption. They care about the story, they care about the narrative. So I think that when I combine the aspect of like, Aerodrome and the base network, this could be something special here, even though, let's say, it may not have the best adoption of all time. Not to mention as well, going to the price of $25, that right there, considering current circulating supply, it would have a market cap of around $20 billion. Now, it's around a 40x from here, but even beyond that, the way you take a look at it is this. That's not a ridiculous market cap, in my opinion, because back in 2021, with far less crypto owners, with far less attention for the DeFi projects, right? With also, I would arguably say, far less institutional investors, far less enterprise adoption. Again, we take a look back in 2021, Uniswap's native token called Uni exceeded $20 billion in market cap. So this time around, why can't something like Aero achieve less than that, given the more bullish factors that we have as of right now? Like, for instance, over 600 million crypto owners, according to Crypto.com research, the amazing sentiment about the Bitcoin ETF, the Ethereum ETF, and also, again, just the whole reputation the crypto space has as of right now, I would arguably say is way better than before. If we have all these factors right now, why can't something like Aero achieve somewhat of a, glimpse, I would say, of something like Uni back in 2021? I just don't see why not. Of course, I think Aerodrome is never going to defeat like a Uniswap, for instance. I'm totally aware of that. I'm not saying, oh, Aerodrome's going to be better. I'm not saying that, right? But again, achieving somewhat a glimpse, I would say, of that, it doesn't seem that bad to me, and it doesn't seem that unrealistic in my opinion. And just think about this in a broader scale. At least that's the way I would take a look at it, right? I'm not telling anyone to share the same idea that I have, but I'm just saying, let's say during a fully fledged bull run, Bitcoin went to the price of around $300,000. And let's say at that point, market cap is around 6 trillion. Now, let's say in that scenario, Ethereum does very well, and let's say it had a market cap of around 2 trillion. Now, that's combined 8 trillion, right? And those are just from those two projects alone in this example. I'm not saying including Solana, BNB. I'm not saying that. Just those two projects. Now, 8 trillion is a very massive amount because in a trillion, that's 1,000 billion. And then in a billion, that's 1,000 million. So that's very amazing. So let's say out of 8,000 billion, are we saying around 20 billion, give or take, can't flow into this? This is just the way to take a look at it during a fully fledged bull run, in my opinion. Now, of course, naturally, I think more is going to flow into something like Uni, which is the native token of Uniswap. I'm totally aware of that. But why can't Aerodrome kind of gain that type of attention a little bit? I just don't see why not. And I think when it comes to Aerodrome, it's really becoming one of these premier decentralized exchanges where it's kind of being set in the same category of like a little bit like PancakeSwap. So I do like that because for a long time, everyone thought, oh, if it's not Uniswap, then it's PancakeSwap, right? For a project to believe in that's focused on decentralized exchanges. Or should I say, when it comes to these projects that are decentralized exchanges. But now we're beginning to see something like Aerodrome. Now, of course, I'm totally aware of the fact that there's other competitors. Like, for instance, we take a look at Joe. We take a look at also something like Pangolin. We also take a look at something like Saucer Swap. But really, they haven't gained that sort of Aerodrome type of attention yet. So I do like the direction in which this is heading. And again, when I tie that all in with the base network narrative and its, relation, I would say, to Coinbase, it just really is a no-brainer pick for me. But as of right now, all I can do is stay patient because the market, it's going to wake up when it wants to wake up. I can't demand it to wake up. I can't pull up a price chart. Well, I could pull up a price chart and draw some random triangles, but it doesn't mean much, right? What I mean by that is no matter what I draw on a price chart, even though it may look cool, even though I may say, oh, it's a falling wedge pattern or whatever nonsense, the market's not going to listen to that. So what would I rather do instead? Focus on the fundamentals, that's it, and focus on what the crypto space could hypothetically be moving forward. And we have to think about this. According to Charles Hoskinson, who not only is the founder of Cardano, but the co-founder of Ethereum, according to Charles, back in November of last year, he said that 1 to 2 years from then, he said that he could very well see Bitcoin reaching anywhere between $250,000 all the way up to $500,000. That's kind of crazy to think about. Now, when will exactly Bitcoin do that? Only time will tell, but I just don't see why Bitcoin would kind of peak around $100,000. You know what I mean? 200,000, 250, let's say 300,000. That really wouldn't surprise me whatsoever, but it's just a waiting game. All I can do right now is accumulate more, hold, and I just wait. That's it. Because again, the market's going to wake up when it wants to wake up, but I want to be prepared for that eventually when it, let's say, does wake up, in theory. And again, I don't want to miss out on it. So I'd rather be holding as opposed to waiting on the sidelines, at least when it comes to Aerodrome's native token called Aero. And $25 wouldn't surprise me when it comes to Aero whatsoever during this bull run, of course. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's Mali the Captain, and I'll catch you all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.